What's going on? We're back. It's episode 166 of Seeking Wisdom, the universe's only 6-star only podcast, and I have the young Jedi, Adam Schoenfeld here. He's tan, he's got the hair of a god, he's ready to drop some knowledge here on Seeking Wisdom.
I appreciate the hair of the god compliment. That made my day.
Look at my hair. Look, you have to watch the YouTube videos to take a look at my hair. Take a look.
That's a full 360 degree view right there.
360. I'm giving you 360 looks here, but you have to go on YouTube and subscribe and make sure to hit the bell so we get notifications when we drop new Seeking Wisdom episodes. So what are we talking about here, Jedi?
For those people on audio who just heard that and haven't come to YouTube yet, I don't know what else we could possibly do, but we're going to go forward with the show. This is another one of the What You Wish You Knew When You're Younger series. And you said never read or watch the news. Please.
Please. End of episode. All right. So this is, let's go back in time. So this is about avoiding the news. One of the things that we talk a lot about and we think a lot about is, that we are the average of the 5 people that are around us, right? We've talked about that a lot. One thing that we miss in doing that, in talking about or even thinking about that, is that does not have to be literally the people around us, but it is the information, the environments that we put ourselves around. We average out, right? At the end of the day, we have no chance but to average out, because one of the traps that people fall into is this idea of that there's some great filter, that they could filter the bad advice that they're getting from a friend or from their environment or from whoever they're listening to, and the news in this case, and just pick out the nuggets, the good stuff. The truth is, all of us are lousy at filtering. And even if you think you're not paying attention to the bad stuff, that stuff is actually being processed and is affecting you. And so for me, I started to think a lot about, what are the things from an environment standpoint that are not helping me? And there was a point, and now I have not watched news in, I don't know how long, 8 years? Yeah, maybe something like that. I used to be this NPR junkie. And so I used to listen to NPR all the time. I used to commute into work long before the pandemic days. And I had a long car ride. And so I used to listen to NPR all the time. And just so happened at the time that I was driving into work each morning, the one thing that was on was the BBC. And so for all of you who have not listened to the BBC, go listen. Amazing content and amazing topics that were being discussed. But what I found after a while was that there was so much negative news coming in, and this was from a great source, right, the BBC, that it was starting to affect me because I felt helpless. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt like there was so much bad stuff going on. And at one point I was like, wait a second, every morning driving in, all I hear is bong, 542 dead in mass genocide in Rwanda. Bong, killings, mass killings. Bong, war declared and whatever. Bong, economic collapse. Bong, the bong is is the noise that they do on the BBC. And it was just like, it would just keep going. The whole car ride is bong, more bad news. And it was like, oh my God, I can't take this. And this was every single day. And so at some point, and this was so long ago that it was an old election cycle. So it might be more than 8 years ago now. And I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And I started to fast on news. And what I noticed right away was once I turned off the news of any sort, I used to read online news. I used to consume. I used to get The Economist and other kind of news magazines. I used to listen to NPR, as I said. I was just consumed by news all the time. And if there was a TV around me, I didn't watch TV, but I might have had news on. So I was just consuming so much news. When I did a fast and got rid of all of it, my mood brightened up, right? It gave me much more energy in the day to focus on the things I needed to focus on. I didn't feel as helpless, right? Obviously, all those things are going on. Obviously, the news would, leak to you. And, the thing that I figured out when people would ask me was like, how do you know what's going on? And it's like the important things in the world, like the critical, like really, really important things you're going to hear, right? Either through social media or through your friends or through your family, like you're going to hear the most important news. And I don't need to hear about every blip happening each day. And so it's been one of the best, techniques that I've found to be able to focus and to have quality time, quality life, is to avoid the news at all costs.
It's amazing that you went from huge news junkie to fasting, because that to me sounds like just, hey, I want to get fit, so I'm going to go in the gym and bench press 400 pounds, and then I'm going to run a marathon tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what caused you to do it in the extreme way rather than saying like, oh, I'll do less read news, or is there some principle hidden in that, or was it just a situational thing in that moment 8 years ago?
Well, there's, one, I will say my natural personality is to go, to either end of the spectrum, right? And so like I'm either in or out 100%. But at the time, and I continue to do this, I was really thinking a lot about morning routines, right? Because I was trying to get good at a morning routine. I was thinking about habits and like, how do you form habits and things like that. And so because of that, I was really in the mode of testing. And so for me, like to do a real A/B test, like for me, it would have to be one extreme or the other. I couldn't really filter out. I didn't think I could filter out the noise if I went 30% or 50%. I was still getting news, because then the question would not be, was it the right amount of news? Then it would be, what's the quality of the news, right? Like it would just open up so many other variables. Like, is it the quality of the news? Is it the source of news? Was it 30% or 50%? Like it just like, I had to go from one extreme to another just to see first, as a first order filter, did I notice any difference? And if I didn't, then maybe I would have tried some other variations, but going cold turkey is really what let me see what the news was doing to me. How much news do you watch?
Almost none. Almost
Good.
none.
Almost
I've been a little bit. So my wife's a big NPR consumer, and so I get it through her. So I'm confident that she's going to bring whatever is like really important in,
Yeah.
or somebody will tell me. So I don't watch or read a lot of news. But I do find, and I'm curious how you'd respond to this, that the world is sort of stacked against me on that. Like Apple keeps trying to tell me that I need to look at news. Every little app and website seems to like be pushing news my way. So yeah, how do you advise people who are like, I agree with you, but I like can't escape the onslaught of news that's just coming at me?
I just keep turn it off, filter, delete.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. But one thing, because us in the U.S. here went through presidential election cycle recently, that you really see during that, but it's true at all times, but it really is heightened there, is we will all have family that are on one side or the other or both sides or whatever. And you see the ones, and they usually, not always, but like, if you have grandparents or parents, usually they're more consumed with news, meaning television news. So whether it's Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, those people who spend their whole day watching news, you could see how spun up and much in a frenzy, no matter what side of an argument they're on, and how much that's affecting them, how spun up and angry they are all the time and emotional about things. And so they're the perfect, even before you do a news fast, like look at the people around you right now who spend a lot of time focused on the news. Are they someone you want to emulate? Is that something that you want to be? Do you want to be spun up and emotional like that all the time? If so, you know what to do. If not, now you know what to do.
And I know that you still read a lot of articles and information. It's just not the feed of alert. So what did this do for you once you cleared the news? Like, did you have a bunch of space to like slot in? Because now I know you're big in Stratechery and Farnham Street and like Benedict Evans stuff and some of these things that now is like seem very high signal. What did that look like?
Have more time to filter, like you said. So I have high signal sources that I let back in, but it also but they're not really topical news stuff. And then the second is like, it let me have more time to spend reading books and studying history and then seeing those patterns. And so like that has been greatly beneficial for me. To be able to have that time to do that with the amount of news that I was consuming, even without it being something that I was actively choosing, right? It was almost like I was just defaulting into this news cycle and spending time reading news. I didn't have time in my life for anything else. I didn't have time to read as much as I wanted to read. I didn't have time to find, high quality, well-filtered sources. I didn't have time for any of that stuff. So if you're watching news on TV or on, YouTube or on wherever you're doing it or listening to it all the time, you're taking that space away to actually be able to filter, find other sources, find other patterns that might be more helpful.
So let's say somebody's out there and like, I want to do a news fast, which is a great headline to think about. What would you say is kind of the minimum time where they might start to feel some of that energy lift? Is it a day? Is it a week? Do you need to pair it with a Wim Hof cold shower or intermittent fasting and not eat breakfast? Or is there any sort of other parameters?
Drift right there. See that shirt? If you like that shirt, let us know. Leave a 6-star review, and you might be able to get one of these shirts sent to you. So what do we pair with it? That's a great question, Adam. I think, and how long would you spend? I'd say a minimum of 2 months. 2 months. You want to go, I think there's I forgot the study, the London-based study. I think it's an Atomic Habits or another book.
That's the Habits one, the number of days, typical, it's like 60-ish.
It's like 67, 68 days, something like that. It's not, or 66, I can't remember the number, but it's north of 65 and less than 70. But it's not this idea of 30 days or less or 2 weeks or whatever, but it's actually longer than you think. So I would say go for 70 days to make sure that it's actually working, and see if a new habit or a set of habits can emerge because of the time that you've given back to yourself.
Love it.
And by the way, Adam, I want to make sure everyone knows, seeking wisdom is not news. We are seeking wisdom here. We have no wisdom, but we are seeking it. And we're sharing what we're doing. But this is not news, so this does not count on your news fast. So I want to see more subscribers, more 6-star ratings, more comments on Adam's hair, and less comments on mine.
That's right. We're trying to do timeless stuff here. I actually go back to see the early episodes all the time and re-listen. So
I've started to do that recently too. And good friend, listener of the podcast, fan, I remember he did the first 50. Was it the first 50 or first 100? He did a post that I found recently. I think it was the first 50 of basically summarizing the first 50 Seeking Wisdom podcasts. We're up to 166 now. So whoever wants to do from 50 to 166, let me know. We'll promote it. We'll send out some love.
Get one of those nice T-shirts. All right. Any closing thoughts on news?
Or a hat.
Or a hoodie, man. I don't even have one of the fancy hoodies.
You don't? Oh my goodness. See that? If you live a 6-star rating here, you might have a hoodie before Adam has
That's what we're talking about. Customers, the audience comes first. Employees get the swag second. That's how it should be.
I will make sure to get one for Adam. I don't know if it could fit with his hair though. Might have to
get an XL hood.
Yeah, a zip-up hoodie.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. You know what to do. 6-star only podcast. The universe is only. Please leave a comment for young Adam. He's young and he's hungry for wisdom. So I'm old and I'm hungry for wisdom. Take care.